And here we go. How you getting on, Paul?
Hey, I'm good. How you guys doing?
Well,
Happy.
we are well.
Well,
Oh,
disgusted in a way.
well,
Disgusted in a
huh?
way.
Oh,
Apparently, there's
Always.
TikTokers and YouTubers fighting. And after watching that Mayweather fight, lot of opinions there.
yeah. I would love to see this fight. You guys were just briefing me a little bit. TikTokers and YouTubers, these seem like keyboard heroes, So I kind of want to see what they got.
You know what? You got It's crazy that we're even fucking talking about. Do you know how like the whole YouTube boxing thing started? Two friends like hopped in a boxing ring and said, "Let's just spar each other for 2 minutes of six." And next thing you know, man, you got Logan Paul boxing, the greatest boxer alive, and you know, two of the biggest social media apps. Actually, do you know TikTok was gonna sue the event? They didn't want TikTok being associated with TikTokers versus YouTubers. There's the whole thing that TikTok were trying to sue the entire event that it wasn't going to go ahead.
Yeah.
Because they said these TikTokers were giving their app a bad name by their behavior of pushing, shoving, all that shit, Crazy.
Yeah, you gotta. I guess the brands are so they're terrified of bad press these days. I could see. I've heard of like videos getting pulled down that are pretty marginally concerning. So I guess, if you're promoting teen violence in mass,
I mean, when it comes to stuff getting pulled down, we've had videos where you pulled down.
Of me?
Yeah. In fairness,
flat.
Same. Like we've had one with the Hardy books, like the Irish comedians. I don't think there's a single one of those ones monetized. I don't think any of them got monetized. Maybe some of the clips.
Okay, can we pause for 1 second? I'm sorry, my
Go on.
dog's just making all this noise. Hold on. You okay, honey? You okay, baby? Oh,
Such is life.
Yeah.
How's your hollywop? You were gone off for a while.
Yeah, good. Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Why aren't you subscribed?
Not this far. You haven't clicked that red button yet. What's the story with that? And while you're here, Manscaped.
You're sitting
Use
there.
code IrishPod for 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com.
You're sitting there with the subscribe button unsubbed. Now ask yourself, do you want to have a good life? You want to grow up, get married,
All right, listen,
have some kids?
Don't mind Thomas. I'm going to pause. We'll be straight back when Paul's ready to go. And we're back. Paul's back. Dog's all sorted.
Hopefully.
Barely remember what we're talking about. Something about TikTok being upset with the TikTok versus YouTuber fight.
Yeah,
you were saying something about brands.
Yeah, I could see the brands being upset, but I was saying too that I kind of just like that there's some aggression in like the keyboard generation here. I feel like there's so much digital. I mean, we were talking before we get started too, even as far as video games have become like a new online sport. And that's before my time. That's after my time, I should say. So, because basketball, football, baseball, you watch that on TV. So the idea that there's a kid sitting down playing a sport with a controller, and then there are fans logging into that's terrifying on like a physical level. And so the idea that generation is going to get out and fight, it'll be a terrible fight to watch. It'll be garbage, but I guess at least they're out of their friggin' gaming chair, maybe.
Yeah. But you were saying beforehand, Thomas, that like they're basically going to be wearing pillows on their hands, right?
Pillows, 16-ounce gloves. For comparison, boxers use 10 or 12-ounce gloves, and then UFC fighters use 8-ounce gloves. So they have twice, or 8 or 6.
Yeah, I
think so. But they're going to be wearing like double what UFC fighters have. And well, we can see what UFC fighters can do to each other. Imagine if they had bigger gloves on.
Yeah.
Plus the headgear, and then no cutman, and then it's like 2-minute rounds of 6, I believe. So like they're doing not even what the women do, because women have 2-minute rounds of 8.
What do you think? Stuff like bare knuckle boxing never really took off. It's going at the moment, but could you imagine the TikTokers and YouTubers bare knuckle boxing? Like,
This fella's leaving, man.
Does it net out? Does it net out to zero though? Because like it sounds more intense to be hit with a bare knuckle, but it's thrown by a guy who doesn't have any weight behind his knuckle. You know, like you're not getting bare knuckle hit by a guy who knows how to hit and normally wears gloves. You're getting hit by a guy who usually presses X while holding, you know, the like top index button to throw a punch. So is it, you know?
You know who Chris Lieben is, Paul?
No.
Cool dude. We had him on our podcast. He used to be in the UFC, and he got into bare knuckle fighting. There's like a, do you know how like the UFC is an organization? There's one called bare knuckle fighting, and
really,
Chris Lieben was like
an
one
actual
of the
thing now.
Oh yeah, it's an actual thing, and so they have professionals who were in other MMA organizations bare knuckle each other, like bare knuckle box each other, and so Chris Lieben, who's used to be a middleweight, fought Anderson Silva, you know, went in, came the champ pretty easily, I'd like to say. The guy,
well, yeah, he nailed it, but he also fought Michael Bisping back in the day.
Oh yeah,
One-eyed Mike.
So wait, so I could watch like today? I've never thought I kind of assumed I couldn't, but I didn't realize I could watch a bare knuckle fight.
Yeah, it's up and coming. I'd say it's not as big as other organizations that have MMA, like even ONE or Bellator, but it sets itself apart because of like no gloves, which is probably a lot tougher than UFC.
It's not even just bare knuckles. They have the wrap. It's like super fucking fibery. Like if you're getting hit and just a graze, you're getting like the burn of a lifetime.
And that could cause like a quicker split. I mean, isn't that part of the reason? Don't they grease? Is that or is the grease only after a cut, or do they grease the heads anyway? Like
Vaseline at the start. Yeah, they put Vaseline at their near their eyes, and
so that the glove would slide off.
Yeah.
Is that so? That's legal. Like you can do that without a cut. You can just grease. You can Vaseline your forehead.
They do that before the fighters get in. Now they'll put Vaseline over there.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
And then in between rounds, they'll do it as well. Especially if you have a cut. Like there's a guy fighting tomorrow now. UFC's on tomorrow as well. Not even like UFC. The UFC card tomorrow. It's just fucking beautiful. You know, it's absolutely fucking amazing. But like you probably know Nate Diaz.
I know the name. I mean, from listening to Rogan, I catch all these names. I actually don't mind UFC, but I don't get crazy over it. It seems like I never come across it accidentally. Yeah. You know, I'd have to look it up.
Dude, I wish I had that. You know,
are you hooked? You're addicted?
Dude, yeah. The way some lads are with video games, I'm that way with MMA now. I just love it, especially the UFC.
Really?
Yeah, they're just top class.
Damn. I've seen it. I've seen it many times. You know, maybe I should go back. Maybe I should go back just to switch it up.
Man,
well, you probably watched the Conor fight.
I did not. I haven't seen. No, wait. Are you talking Conor versus Mayweather or like UFC Conor? Like Conor
versus Dustin Poirier.
Was that an awesome fight?
It was pretty good.
First time he got knocked out.
I won't watch it now. You've ruined it.
Yeah. They're fighting again in July now. And
oh yeah?
I'm
totally okay. I'd watch it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's gonna be pretty good. It's like a trilogy fight, you know, because they fought like 5 years ago when Conor was knocking out everybody, and then fought like 6 months ago when Conor got knocked out.
So like like a tiebreaker. Rubber match, I think we call that sometimes, but all right.
We'll see what happens.
Do you guys think Conor can come back? You think is Conor on a decline? Is he all done?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, like he's one win in the last 4 or 5 years.
How many fights is that?
That is 1, 2.
He's 4 losses.
Four fights in the last 5 years, I think. Right? Am I forgetting one?
Like if
you have enough time, huh?
Yeah.
A fight a year?
It's always the biggest fight of the year, in fairness to him.
In all fairness, if you look at like pay-per-views for UFC, he's in the top 5 of
put him up there.
sold.
Oh yeah, you don't want to dilute the brand, I guess. You have too many fights, then each one becomes worth less.
Yeah, like the UFC are smart. And not everything they do is smart. Like there's some stuff I don't agree with. Their gloves, It's really easy to eye poke your opponents or their pay. Like you'd think now, being in the UFC and being the champion, you'd be paid fairly well.
But
A lot of them disagree.
been thinking about this, been looking into it. The reason for it is because of how big the UFC is. You know, they got such a high production value versus Mayweather versus Logan Paul. You know, they're just celebrities being paid the pay per view, and that's it. There's very few employees. There's not as much promotion. You know, like embedded blogs and stuff. That costs a lot of money because you got a full production crew just for that. Like they would not be able to sustain something like that.
So you're saying the UFC has more? Oh, sorry.
And then, like when it comes to fighter pay, I seen the example there of Paulo Costa. You know, he was asking for more money after a loss, but he'd signed a 4-fight contract that put him at 100. Oh, he started one. He signed a long-term one when he started that put him at 75K per fight for showing up and 75K if he won. Which sounds pretty alright. And he wanted out. It sounded like he had maybe 4 fights left out of it, but that's what a lot of these fighters do. They sign maybe 6, 8, 4 fight contracts at a certain price, and they change it. Now, if you win, you'll go up. Like Roseberry Nunes, when she won, she went up to like 190,000 for showing up. And then,
so it's a woman?
Yeah.
Getting paid 190.
Yeah. When showing she won. I believe it was 190 because like the other one was like 5-digit and then it moved up. Yeah. But I know.
So
if you lose a lot of consecutive fights and you have a bad performance, they put you down again.
Of course. Yeah, like, no one wants to watch a fight that there's no odds.
Israel Adesanya right now, because of the pay-per-view and because of like the brand he's built for himself, he's getting mega bucks. Same with Jorge Masvidal. Anyone who brings the hype, brings the pay-per-view, they're getting the money.
Yeah.
Like they're not short of it.
Hey, did you guys watch the women fighters? Is it a thing, or is it like the WNBA level?
No. You watched the women fighters.
No, you'd watch them. Yeah.
In fact, the women fight, the number one women's fighter is probably better than like all the men. It's Amanda Nunes, and she's like if you had like a pound for pound with men and women together, she'd be dominating at the moment.
Dana White said that was the only fighter he would let fight Jake Paul. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because she'd kick his ass, man.
Yeah.
Huh.
Mad.
So that's interesting because
it is not like, I know what you're trying to do with like WNBA there. It's not like that. Like even the women's fighter they've had before, man. Ronda Rousey was bringing in the money.
I remember her.
Holly Holmes was bringing in the money. Chris Cyborg, Amanda Nunes now, like these women's fighters, they're bringing in money that some of the men even can't do. But
really,
like basketball or soccer or football, a lot of the time it is boring. Might be exciting sometimes when you got like the best on the field. And now you put down to the women, they might not be on the same level as the guys that you just watched. So you're seeing like, okay, they're playing like the medium players on the guys team. Now what? I'll go put on the pizza.
Yeah, but, exactly.
With fighting, the boredom doesn't really come up.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to watch this
because it's such a it's always exciting. Like I don't know, like the feeling in your chest you got before you seen Logan versus Mayweather, like. Every fighter is gonna do that because there's so much hype behind it.
I don't usually get that. Do you know that feeling? I don't get that often. One I do get it for a lot is when I'm watching a fighter who I really like, and it'll be like the main event of the evening. Conor. When I was watching Conor versus Khabib, I had that because I really wanted Conor to win, and you can imagine how disappointed I was. And like I'm saying now, Conor's right. He's good. He's not as good as he used to be personally. Khabib, that guy, fucking hell, beast of a man.
Conor was in like his peak, like the best he'd ever been as an athlete when he fought Khabib, and that wasn't enough.
Interesting. So, do you think like with the women's fights?
Go on.
Because I mean, I'm really caught on this here. Is it kind of like when people really enjoy NASCAR, but they know they're there for the accident? You know what I mean? Is it because like women just naturally you don't want to see them fight, so like if they're crazy enough to fight each other, then you kind of just want to see one get completely smashed apart? What it seems like there could be an entirely different dynamic
I don't know
Because
what
like
it is.
men, you know, a man can take a punch probably, especially if he's chosen fighting as a profession. Like he might get his ass beat, but then he might come back next time and kick that guy's ass or beat someone up who beat that guy. So we can handle it kind of. But the idea, it's like watching glass fighters. You kind of want to see the shatter. Like, am I totally off on this? Do you think there's any element of that?
There's a fun fact here.
Man, if they were flowers like normal women, yeah. But fuck me, man. Like some of these women, they just look like dudes. They look like dudes. Like they're jacked. And you see some of their fighting. They're basically just like more flexible male fighters. Like you see
More
them
flexible.
kicking over their heads a lot more than lads. Yeah, sometimes you see some guys and they try to get like a high kick and they kind of struggle. You don't normally see that with the women.
They say women are stronger in the lower half than men. They're actually we're built differently in that way, probably because women have to give birth, and so they. That's interesting. That would make sense if they can. Is that a plug? Starbucks. That they can kick higher or kick stronger proportionately. Interesting.
There's actually a thing with like the lowest weight class in the women's division, and it's that since they've had the belt, which is only like a couple of years because it's pretty new, that every champion
they used to just give an apron or
no man, but
ouch! It was a cooking glove. It was sorry,
but every champion has been like knocked out. Like
what do you mean now?
Like every champ. So if you held the belt and you lost the belt, it meant you were knocked out. Like anyone who's ever held it has been knocked out to lose it. You know, that's not like the men's at all.
Is that atom weight? It's like
no straw weight.
Straw weight.
What do they call it?
I know in one they use atom weight, like an atom.
Atom.
Yeah.
So it's that's the Roseberry Nunes class now. She just
which would be
Zayli Wang like. So like everyone who's held the belt in that division has been knocked out for it.
What weight are they? They're like 120 something.
Well, bantamweight's 145, and then flyweight's 135, so 125. Yeah.
And wait, jacked for 125.
Yep. Put that in perspective, like Floyd Mayweather's natural weight is 145, so they're like a little bit smaller than him, you know, but twice the power. And you threw Floyd in with one of them, man, I'd say they'd fuck him up.
Dude. That's wild shit.
Yeah,
I gotta
crazy man.
Yeah, I gotta check it because I had worked on a bit before about how like to me and not being a huge fight fan. I'm not against it by any means. I don't get crazy over it. But I just generally like seeing women fight. There's like a visceral turnoff that I thought a lot of people felt because women are just more. I don't know, like they're just. Not fragile, but fragile, you know, but also just more like they're just more sleek. They're more beautiful than strong, you know, like guys are strong, women are beautiful. And so I likened it to like say men off-road, you know, men are like 4x4 trucks off-roading when we fight. And then women are like a Ferrari where it's known for the curves, right? And known for the sleek. And then a Ferrari says, well, I want to off-road. And you're like, you're going to completely destroy your Ferrari. You understand that, right? And they're like, no, but I really want to do it. And you're like, really? We'd recommend you don't. Just the same way that we can't handle curves like you can, you know, there's things we can each do. But then like a woman goes off and says, well, all right, then I'll show you how this is going to work. And she lifts and comes back. And then it's like a Ferrari up on jacked up 4x4 suspension with huge wheels. And you're like, yeah, you're not really much of a Ferrari anymore. I guess. I mean, Jesus, what the hell have you done to your Ferrari? And if you want to go out, and then still the Ferrari is going to be wrecked, like scratched and everything, you know. So, but apparently,
man, trust me, it is sometimes more interesting than the men's. Like after this, I want you to go on YouTube, look up like all of them. Amanda Nunes has pretty much knocked out every great women fighter. Like. She's fucking beast. She's Italian. She has 2 belts, double champ.
I thought she's Brazilian.
What did I say?
You said Italian.
Sorry, Brazilian. My God, fuck.
You're probably thinking Marvin Vittori.
I am. Do you know what? It's because I was watching the press conference before this.
She mauls. She mauls.
She's
like
crazy.
It's It's like a dude was put in there, and like it's like you put Brock Lesnar in there.
Jesus
Dude,
Christ!
no, she kills.
I'm in.
Yeah.
All right, this is good because see, there I was writing a bit about something I don't know a ton about. I was writing an outsider's view, and sometimes you find out that you're way off when it comes to. I have to actually know the dynamic now. I'll have to.
Yeah, man. It's interesting stuff.
But moving on from this because
Yeah.
we've been at this for 20 minutes, lads.
Jesus. Ding,
What's
ding,
it?
ding.
Yeah. So what's the story with comedy, man? Like you've been going hard at it. You've been saying you've been doing what, like 4 or 5 shows a week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing like a ton of mics to practice, which I kind of hate. I don't really like mics. I feel like I watch so much comedy that I know I understand comedy. You know, like I enjoy comedy, I study comedy, I write it, I perform it. Like I don't think that mics are really necessarily helpful at this point, because there's a limited return on those. Meaning that comics when you go to a mic, every comic is thinking about their set, so they're not really thinking about yours, and they're only comics in the room. So you could go in and do a really good Friday night club piece and no one's really paying any attention and you think it sucks. And you're like, oh shit, I guess I shouldn't use that bit. No, you could be entirely wrong. That could be a great bit, but it's just not going to be reflected in a mic. So yeah, but anyway, they're just good repetition. And some mics, like if you show up enough, then you meet the other, you're really there for networking. You meet other comics, and some of the mics will actually have a booked show once a month, once a week. So I've been doing those. And then I've been getting out a lot. So yeah, I've been getting some book spots. I did like 8 minutes last night at a club called Haha Cafe. I did 2 weeks ago. I did a set at a bar. There was a really good show. It's like 50 people. Still a small crowd, but I felt like I did really well. And yeah, so it's going well. What I'm focusing on now, my big exciting challenge here is, and I think it's a very pivotal thing to work on. It's the vibe. I'm working on the vibe. You can write and write and write and write and write. You can write the best material in the world. And if you deliver it with anything less than what you intended when you wrote it, it's going to implode like a souffle or something. You know what I mean? It's just not going to, it's going to be like a burnt piece of fish. The best fish, the best recipe. But if you burn it or you undercook it, it's fucking gross. And no one's going to come back. But if you get it, if a really well-prepared, lesser exciting dish is going to be better than a burnt chef piece, So I'm really working on just the vibe. I want to lead with just them being like, oh shit, this is that guy from work, that's always saying funny shit, or like, oh, this is like my cousin Billy, yeah, I can't, as opposed to like a guy who's got great material but is like somewhere else when you say it, or like even worse, the worst thing you can do is have great material and sound scripted.
Yeah.
You're fucking dead.
No, you.
Have you seen that yourself? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think last night I started off that way a little bit. I was kind of pissed. I didn't record it. I record most of my sets, and I watch a lot of them. I did the same material last night that I did 2 weeks ago when I sent you guys the Garrett. I think I sent you the link. Thomas, I'm happy to send it to you if you want to see it. It didn't come across as well on tape, I think, because of camera position in the back of the room, whatever. But it was a great night. I'm very happy with that set, and I'm very happy with the crowd engagement. I felt like I was in the same room as them. Last night, I was doing a set for a guy who books. So he books a Thursday night show at the Haha, but he also, most of the week, books the best show maybe in the world right now, in the whole fucking world right now. This guy books the shit. It's called Supernova. It's in Hollywood, off Hollywood Boulevard. I've hung out there. I talked to Tom Segura for a couple of weeks ago, hanging backstage, like kind of not really backstage. It's just sort of like off to the side. I saw Nate Bargatze over there, who, Nate's huge. Anthony Jeselnik, I'm sure you guys have heard of him. Bill Burr is there quite a bit. I haven't seen Bill. I haven't been there a night when he's been there. But this is who this guy books. And so these are huge shows. They're like $40 a ticket plus 2 drinks. They book 150 people or seat 150 people. It's an outdoor show, but it's in it used to be a nightclub. So it's got these awesome like screens where they project like the universe kind of like, so there's always like shit going on. It's a circular stage. It's fucking awesome. So the point is, last night I was performing in front of the guy who books that. No pressure. So, because he'll book some locals. He'll have like 2 or 3 locals before you have your big heavy hitters. And so I was in my head a little bit, which is annoying, but I thought I was fighting through it pretty well. And then I just kept getting bumped and bumped and bumped and bumped. So I thought I was going to go on 5th. And then Jim Jeffries was there. I don't know if you know who that is, the roast master. So he did like 20 minutes in the middle. And then, and then I got bumped again. And then before you know it, it was an 8 o'clock show. I went on at like 10:15, so like people are kind of tired. A couple people have come in since, and you can rejuvenate a crowd, but I was fucking tired at that point, like I just, cause you kept getting in gear. It's like getting up to the race line and then shutting the engine off, and then you go back to the race line and then you shut, like, you're ready when you're ready. And then someone, you keep, I don't know. You got to do what you got to do. But I feel like I was in my head a little bit. So, Christ, that was a run, huh?
I mean, I wish I had some kind of advice. But sure. I mean, number 1 takes balls to get up there. But number 2, if everyone's just fucking tired and ready to go home, and yourself included, there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah. It's and what I was thinking about this morning in regard to this stuff is that, like, I was comparing it. I had this notion where, like, I'm trying to decide whether or not I still like coffee, because sometimes, like, more often than not, I drink coffee. It makes me like jittery, uncomfortable a little bit, unless I really have something to do. If I'm driving or going somewhere, then I'm focused on what I'm doing. But if I'm just at home working on things, it makes me a little uncomfortable. And I was thinking this morning, I said, what the fuck? Am I really so weak that a little bit of caffeine, do I have such little momentum and repetition in my core that a little bit of caffeine, not even a whole cup, like a little bit, can really fuck up my whole system? That's ridiculous. What a weak operation I have going on. Like, you want to think of yourself as like a brick wall, and then the coffee's like a little tennis ball bouncing off. It doesn't affect you. But if it does affect you, then maybe your shit's kind of loose and not tight. And then I was comparing that to comedy. And it's like, if you're going to go on and do one set of 7 or 8 minutes, and it's just a random fucking crowd, and that shit can jar you a little, how tight is your fucking perspective on who you are? So you got to do some real off the court building. You got to get in your own head before, and you've got to do much more building and repetition away from the stage, so that when you face 7 minutes of stage time, or maybe 15, who cares if it's a fucking hour? It shouldn't be enough to offset the stone wall of who you are, of what you've built. And you have to, that's half of writing's great. Yeah. Writing is important. But if you don't decide who you are off stage, you're going to get your fucking ass beat every fight. Every fight, you're going to get your ass kicked. So it's kind of half of it. And I'm sure that translates into, all kinds of life, whatever it is, like, even if you're a surgeon, you can probably get a nervous hand if you're like, fuck, should I even be doing this? Like, who am I? I didn't graduate top,
I seen this thing the other day. I was like, it was like people on Reddit, and, like, someone asked a question, like, ask me anything or whatever. And people were like, what's the worst thing that you've ever heard or said to, like, a doctor? And there was one guy, he said, like, I went for surgery, and I said, be careful with me, doc, it's my first time. And as he was passing out, the doctor said, it's mine too.
Count backwards from 10, baby. Slip that right in around 4. You just watch.
Careful with me, doc, it's my first time. Me too.
Imagine
gone.
Imagine that. Oh. I mean, there has to be a first time. Like, even though I'm sure there's so many, you watch as a doctor and then you do it supervised, but there has to be that first time. where
Yeah.
you're the biggest dog in the room. There's got to be a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was scary me.
it'd be pretty scary for like surgery now, and like one thing I've always been afraid of is like a pilot saying it.
I was just gonna say a pilot.
Man, I would not. I'd be like, oh, it's your first time, huh? Ha
Shit off.
Right.
Straight off that fucking flight, man, is where I'm going. Yeah, you have fun on your flight, man. Tell me when it's your second time, then I'll fly with you. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And I get, man. Pilots have like, fucking years of experience. I'm not even gonna question that, man. But like,
it's a funny
I
thought
don't know.
when you think about it.
It's nerves. Nerves can't defeat any fucking man.
You scared of flying, Thomas?
Am I scared of flying? No, not even. Well, but
There's always that
there's always that 15 to 20 seconds during a flight when there's like some kind of turbulence. You're like, right, time to meet my maker.
Yeah, seriously.
I
fucking experienced that too.
I woke up.
Okay.
Actually, I was on a flight once, and it's one of those early ones. So I was just like flying along, and I must have fallen asleep, and I woke up, and I just went, "Huh, I'm still alive." I just did not expect the plane to still be in the air for some fucking.
It was like that. It was that bad a turbulence.
I don't know. I was like, "Oh, still alive. Cool."
That sounds like a bit from Family Guy. Just out of nowhere, Peter just wakes up like, "Oh, I'm still alive." Shit.
I always enjoyed the turbulence. Like, I know it's terrifying, but I guess I just have this sense that like that's not how I'm gonna die. Now that I've said it, I guarantee that I will die in a plane crash. But I just have this sense that like that's probably not the way. So I welcome them like a roller coaster at an amusement park. Like, I like the fear, but I kind of know it's probably not.
Yeah, roller coaster's a tough one, especially if you're in
Yeah.
a long line for a roller coaster. I was in a line. I went to Universal a couple years ago, like in Florida.
And
I was waiting in line for the Hulk. I don't know if you've
I
been
haven't
there.
been on that one.
Yeah, it's a Hulk, so it's this big fucking one. There's like 3 fucking loops in it, and like you're going upside down, inside out, man. They literally stop it at one point, and you just keep going, really quickly. But so I'm waiting in line for like an hour, I'd say. And half the time I'm like, oh man, I can't wait for this. And the other half of me is like, you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. And I just gotta keep psyching myself. I'm like, I'm not gonna leave. Like, I'm already 40 minutes into this. Why would I leave? And do you know what they do? Really fucking evil is that there's an exit sign right before the roller coaster. So it's like, I'm looking at the exit sign and I'm looking at the thing and I'm thinking, you're gonna kill me, aren't you?
Dude. I've been I think a lot about the like the speed pass or whatever they call it, express pass or whatever at an amusement park. It is, but have you ever thought about how fucked up it is? That because what does it do? It doesn't make the ride go fast. It doesn't. You're just cutting other people. It gives you permission to cut. Those other people are still there. They just have less money than you. So that means that these are people, no one lives near Universal, and anyone who does probably doesn't have the pass, but these are like plumbers whose kids have always wanted to go to Disney. And the guy saved up like 11 grand of plumber money to finally fly his yeah, dude, to take his kids and his family, his fucking wife who hates him, all this shit. And he gets them out, and then he pays a ton at the hotel. All the drinks are expensive. Everything's expensive. Gets to the place, pays a bundle for the ticket, just to find out that he's going to get cut all day long by people with more money. The kids are bitching in line. They want a $7 fucking bottle of water, a $12 ice cream. They got to piss halfway through the line. And then just watch this rich people breeze by. Just breeze by. And just shame what this guy had worked so hard. It's fucked up when you think about it.
It's like a fucking society moment thing right there, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's shit. No, you're dead right. It's for the elite.
I'll still buy it every single time.
Of course.
The Express.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, if I went there often, I wouldn't pay for it all the time. But if I'm just like average Joe Schmo, myself and Thomas, we go in there one day. We spent all year saving up to go to the States, go Universal. I may as well spend a couple extra bucks and
Yeah.
have a faster day.
You guys want to hear something fucked up? So, I mean, it's not even that fucked up, but it's all right. So check this out. Talk about a speed pass. You've never even heard of this kind of thing. Chelsea and I, years ago, we went to Six Flags in Jersey.
Yeah.
And we're there. It was Halloween day, and we're having a good time, but we'd spent the whole day, got on like 4 rides. I mean, the lines were obnoxious, you know, like the rides were fun, but Jesus, you're waiting like an hour and a half. I don't know. It was forever. So we feel like we've kind of done it. There's just some rides we're not going to hit, whatever. Oh, well, it's getting dark. This couple comes up to us and they go, "Hey, you seem like nice people." They go, "Would you help us out?" And we're like, "What kind of scam shit is this?" They go, "Our son is he wants to ride a roller coaster and we're just not up for it. We're not comfortable riding that, you know, and would you ride with him?" And we're like, "I guess." And they're like, "Oh, and for doing it, by the way, he's got a medical issue, so he has a medical pass. So you actually don't wait in any lines. You walk straight up, you walk up the exit and you get on the ride immediately." And we're like, "Really? All right, sure." And the kid's right there. He's 12 years old. And, you know, he seems mostly physically able. He's not like really something, you know, super visibly wrong. So like, yeah, sure. We'll do a nice thing for somebody. Get straight to the front, have the best ride. It's so much fun. We hop off and the kid's like, "I want to go again." And we're like, "Fucking so do we." Like, that was kind of cool. And so the parents are like, "Hey, if you guys are cool with him, let's just do the park together and we can see every ride." And we're like, "Oh, this is fucking amazing." So we start riding with this kid and we're knocking out. But let me tell you this. Before we go on to the second ride, it gets awkward as shit for a minute because, you know, now we're walking with this family. We're excited to have met these guys. And we're having a good time. We're talking with the parents, talking with the kid. Now I'm walking a little ways away. Halloween night, as I said, all the park people are in costume. All the trees have like spider webs in them and shit. It's a very themed kind of night. And I look over and I see what I thought was some costume like hanging off the kid's face. And he's a few feet away from me as we walk in the dark. And I'm like, "Hey, what do you got there? Is that part of your costume there, kid? You know, is that an eye hanging out?" And they're like, "What?" The parents were like, "What was that?" And I was like, "No, is that like a booger? You know, part of your costume?" And they're like, "That's his feeding tube." Oh, dude, I had no idea. This kid had a feeding tube sticking out of his nose, like a foot long, like a foot and a half of rubber sticking out. I thought it was like a fucking eyeball. You know what I mean? I thought it was like part of I had no clue that you could do that. And I felt terrible. And I'm sure the kid heard. And the parents were like, "It's okay. It's okay." And I'm like, "Is it really? Okay, whatever." So we then proceed to hit every ride in the park. We have the best time. And what gets really awkward is that the kid turns out to be fucking obnoxious. And he's like just hitting puberty. So he's like really turned on by Chelsea. And we're like, and he's getting like vocal about it, you know, like he's not quite right, this kid. And we're like, where do we draw the line? Like, you know, we're like, "Ah, easy, kid. Your jokes are getting a little weird, you know?" And then like, you want to sit next to her. We're like, "I don't think so anymore." You know, but we still want to ride with the kids. So we had to ride this line with him of like, at what point is his obnoxiousness not worth getting on every ride in the park with no line? And, you know, how many rides is enough that we can't handle this kid at all? It was awkward as fuck. But let me tell you, if you can get your hands on the medical pass, there is no sweeter prize in the park. I don't know how you do it. Maybe you tell your doctor you broke your foot or some shit. You know, I don't know. Well, your doctor would know if you broke it. But
I think if you're with someone who has like anxiety or something like that, a bit more extreme, you can get one. So
but you got to be careful because if you say anxiety, they might not recommend you for the rides. Might be like, "Oh, anxiety. I don't know if you should be doing a corkscrew upside down."
in fairness, you kind of nailed
Swallow
it.
your tongue.
Yeah.
You know.
what you're saying there though about like him like harassing Chelsea, that's like some like moral dilemma you give to like your friends when you're drunk as shit. Like, all right, you get to ride every free, you know, every roller coaster in Six Flags, but your girlfriend gets sexually harassed the entire
Yeah,
day.
yeah, exactly, exactly. It's like
You
a
know?
would you rather,
Yeah,
you know,
you know?
exactly. And it was her call because she was also enjoying the rides, but she's like, you know, and I'm like, at what point did I put this fucking handicapped 12-year-old in a fucking headlock? Like, at what point? You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of being a lot. I just have to drop this fucking kid here, just walk away. It was so awkward. Plus his parents are telling us that he's got the feeding tube. He's got this medical condition that has to do with like something to do with his something to do with his internals, and yet he's hammering this like basically a 2-liter of Mountain Dew. Like, he's got this giant gulp with a fucking 1.5-foot straw, and we're like, that's what's wrong with your kid, you know, just by the way. Like, there's nothing actually wrong with your kid. He's just consuming like 200 grams of sugar and 9 coffees at Six Flags. Yes, he's going to need medical help if you allow that to continue. Like, but who knows? Who knows? We never spoke to those people again, but it was like a strange balance of awesome and terrible. Yet I would still do it again. I mean, just to avoid the lines, and it's
so bad.
Yeah, that should be an option too. You can't afford the speed pass. How about we just have a guy who harasses your girlfriend and rides with you until you can't? We promise you at some point you will leave early. The harassment will reach such a point.
Dude, I wouldn't put my girlfriend through that.
No. Well,
if you can take it, then go on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, of course. Well, that's just it. I mean, we didn't know going into it. We couldn't have known, and it became progressive. It's like a noise in your ear. You're like, what's that? You know, it doesn't bother you at first until eventually
you're
like,
to a point where he's screaming.
I can't. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, Paul. No.
Just writing something down there.
I'm trying to figure out where to go next. You know, it's always tough. It's always tough having you on, Paul, because
I got something.
We've gone from Hitler to TikTok to UFC to kind of, you know, like milking, you know, disabled kids for, you know, free roller coasters. It's like
he was milking my able. He was milking my able.
Okay.
Yes, okay, I think so. You know what? Because it was a symbiotic relationship. It was.
I like that.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
he
that.
couldn't ride the roller coasters without his parents or us. So he was, you know, we were contributing to his welfare at the expense of sexual harassment. Let me throw this at you.
Thank you.
Let me throw this at you. As my buddy just texted me, and I'm glad that we're communicating again, because we had quite an argument the other day. Not even he and I. Tell me what you guys think of this. My buddy's girlfriend, they're engaged. They're getting married. She says, I'm trying to think of how much backstory I should put on this. I'll mention for the sake of, this is the backstory of the day. My buddy and I go golfing, have a great day. Beautiful golf course, little ways out of here, about 40 minutes away. Gorgeous golf course. One of the third guy who we golfed with invited us back to his house, as we had planned in advance, to have a barbecue. We have steaks, we have sausages. His fiance is there. She's a great girl. Met her. We have a few drinks. We smoked a little weed on the course. It was just a fucking awesome day. It was really good. About 8 hours of a lot of fun. And now it's 10:30 at night, where we're getting ready to round out the day and just end it great. We bring the clubs up to my buddy's place, and his fiance is there. And we make small talk for half a second. Then she says, as I'm walking out the door, and she knows me well, she knows I'm opinionated. She says to my buddy, we'll call him Joe for the sake of, even though he'll know who this is. She goes, hey, Joe, did you tell Paul what we've been talking about? Now, you know, she's queuing up something fucking saucy here. And then you see his response. I mean, it's just, the smile fell off his face. He just begrudgingly, he's like, no. And she's like, why not? Why don't you tell him? And he's like, oh, he just doesn't want to say it. Now I have to know. And I was actually going to give him an out. I was going to be like, dude, if you're uncomfortable, we'll talk later, whatever. But let's see it. His fiance is putting him on the spot. He goes, we'll call her Mary. Mary, the fiance, has been bringing up, and they've been discussing, considering maybe he will take her name when they get married.
Right.
And I before we get into what I have to say, what yeah. Where do we stand on that? What do you guys think?
Thomas, you go first.
Society evolves. And things change. And change is good. Sometimes.
So
let's just say, for the sake of the argument, that I agree with whatever everyone else agrees with. No. I don't know. I guess man? I know.
What do you think?
I know couples that have done it.
You do.
Yeah. Well,
you do.
Yeah.
You know couples right now where the man has taken the wife's name.
Yeah, I do.
What's are these family? Are they friends?
Family.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And just like, I don't know. I guess doesn't really matter. I mean, it's kind of all about what the individual wants and what the couple kind of agrees to. Now, society deems that as bad, and femboy is the word I use to describe it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a guy who got a bit dominated. But it's talking about with my own name, because my second name is pretty hard to pair up. Like it's Eady, Eady.
Yeah.
It's a hard one to pair up with.
Yeah.
So there's only a few names that might ever sound okay with Eady. But with me, realistically, no. Good luck. Good luck getting me to that. No. I know a lot of guys you'd see, and I feel like this is how your man felt, was be demasculated. Like he feels like,
yes.
Fuck.
Yes.
Because you got to go to all your friends, and all your friends are like, that's the other thing, is that and especially
you gotta
like,
explain to everyone.
Everyone's
gonna ask
everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone he talks to.
Everyone who's
people looking him up online. They can't find him because he's using his wife's name.
Dude, everyone. Yeah. I mean, so is that a no and a maybe? Thomas, what's your verdict on that? Could you see yourself doing it? Is it a hard no, a hard yes, or a circumstantial?
Could I see myself doing it?
Yeah.
Realistically, no, because it's just, like I said, society, man.
But you got an easy one. You can pair anything with McAuliffe.
Yeah, that's a straightforward name. That's a good name.
It's a good name.
So you got it handy there.
Yeah. Well, I told another buddy, and I'll say he gave one out. He said he knew a guy who did it, and he said, but the reason was because the guy's name, I think it was like Bob Douchey, and so Douchey for a last name. I don't know if that's common over there, but Douchebag is quite a punch over here. You call someone a douchebag, it's a slam, or you could say somebody acted douchey. When they, so it's kind of shitty, so like on that one, all right, I get it. If you got a bad roll on your name, even then I'd consider a fucking third party neutral name. I might go with Jones. Neither of us are last name Jones, and we might become the Joneses just because I fuck that, dude. Fuck that. I mean, you're not going to start wearing her skirt, what the fuck?
But it seems like she's trying to like push it at that point. Like she's already trying to get people to accept it.
Yeah.
By saying, "Hey, Paul, have you heard about what we were talking about?"
That sounds she's definitely trying to normalize it.
But also antagonistically.
That's kind of manipulative, man. That's kind of fucked.
Thank you. Yes. Because see, there's like certain dynamics. I've been really internalizing this, and because we hadn't spoken for a few days. The wife is still not cool with me. But just before we got on, I was walking my dog, and she was walking. We live in the same building. We live in the same apartment complex directly. Yeah, I can see their apartment from ours. And so I'm bringing the dog in, and the dog starts barking, and it's her. She's walking by, and she wouldn't even look at me. She's furious. So my initial response, like in the moment, she and I got into a 10-minute tirade, and I told her, God damn it, just let a man be a man, you be a woman, and just enjoy that. Just enjoy it. Just maybe, I said, I think that you're coming from a place where you're trying to be the woman and the man. You're trying to be both.
Guy has to stand up for himself a little bit.
Yes, for fuck's sake, he does. And I took it as where, like, I think in a situation like that, and I'm not going to say all, because I mean, we're talking about one, but I would say generally, I think that it's like, we're being all Freud here. I think the woman wants to keep the guy small because there's some low self-esteem. I think she's afraid if this guy gets really feeling good, then he's going to be like, why am I with her? And he'll fucking leave.
Especially if his face changed so fast after she said it.
Dude, I mean, it's just, like, what's left of you as a man after that?
You obviously don't know what's her name like, but does his last name pair well with her first name, or is there a different reason?
Hers is clunkier. She has a clunkier. His last name is actually very easy to match with anything.
Yeah.
It's it's your neighbors. He's from Scottish heritage. So it's I don't know. It's just a very easy name.
Yeah.
But so it's really a power move. I think it's very much a power move. And what I think is crazy though, what you want to get real nuts? You guys want to
go to full 9 yards?
Yeah. All right. So the thing is this. I think there's a chance that she strategically brought that topic up when she did, because I think, and I say this with a grain of sympathy. I don't know if it's empathy. I think sympathy, maybe some empathy. I think she picked it. I had just taken him away from her for a day. Like, not really, but I had just gone and golfed with him for 4 hours. She wasn't there. We had fun. And then we went to a barbecue. She wasn't there. We had fun. So that's 8 hours of him doing 2 different activities and having a great time without her. I think she's really so insecure that the idea of him being happy without her terrifies her. And so I think she picked a time where she knew that I would explode. Like, what are you, out of your fucking mind? Of course I said, and I'm telling her, like, that's ridiculous. And so then it makes it easy. She picks a fight with the guy who just took him away for 8 hours. And
so you went through it again.
Once she and I go through a fight over something that she knew, I wasn't rude to her. I stood my opinion and I made it clear, but I opposed her, and it appears as a fight. And so then it's very easy for her to be like, well, why would you go spend more time with the guy who just fought me in our house? And then it's an easy divide to keep anyone away from this guy who who just shows him fun without her. I think it's a really sick downward spiral that it's a lot to think about. It's kind of wild, right?
Dude, a lot of feelings in that one, man. That's rough. I would not want to be that guy. That just sounds like he loves it a bit, but he's kind of taken a bit too much on the chin because of her, like.
Dude, and you're exactly right. He's a great guy and he loves her to bits. He does. I think sometimes a mistake guys make is even parents make it. Actually, it's more common with parents, where they want to show that they want to be so cool or nice or just generous that they end up spoiling somebody.
Yeah.
And spoiling is not going to lead any place good. If there are no boundaries whatsoever, then eventually you're going to have, say with like a parent and a kid, as you guys get older, you'll see, and you've probably known friends growing up or kids who you just didn't even want to hang out with because they're spoiled ridiculous. But as you get older, you'll see peers once they start having kids where the kids suck. The kids suck. And you hate saying it because it's not the kid's fault, but the kid was just raised with no boundaries whatsoever, that they're climbing off the walls and they're throwing shit and yelling and screaming, and you can't even be around these people. And you're like, fuck. I think it comes down to like the power of the word no. That's what I think. If you can master one thing, if you can really in life, if you can master the word no, it's almost celebrity status. You're almost a superhero. It's a very complicated word that people are afraid of, but because people want to be yes people. We think we'll impress others by being like, yes, this thing that you've been doing lately, you wrote a book. The book was garbage. Do I love it? Yes, I love it. You're full of shit. If you're like, that wasn't.
That's the thing with shit like participation medals.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about that before. Like, there's no winner. Even with that like boxing event the other day. What is the point of watching boxing if there's no winner involved? It is.
I've done events that
the whole thing.
Huh?
It's just stupid, right? There's no winner of a boxing match. Why? Like,
yeah, we all paid $50. Well, not we, but many people.
Hey,
many people.
Hey man, I watched it. I didn't pay for it, and I felt fucking scammed. I want a refund.
I want my money back
for my fucking time.
Yeah.
Man, I put a lot of
trauma,
a lot of thought into wonder who's gonna win, but like, nobody. It's no winner. It makes the sport. Well, not the sport.
Look, it was impressive because he fought a guy who was basically a heavyweight. Because if Logan Paul was doing it right, he would have cut weight on the day, and he would have, rehydrated himself, been 40 pounds heavier maybe. It took a lot to be able to beat a guy that big. It is really a David versus Goliath kind of thing.
But with that level of skill, though, I mean, with Mayweather's skill, it's not just a guy Mayweather's size. I mean, it's an incredibly advanced master of his craft against a novice, So, I mean, he should. I agree with you. Like, pound for pound, yes, you see a guy who's 145 beat a guy who's 190. Jesus, that's a feat. But, it's like if, I don't know, like a chef who has access to 5 ingredients can probably still come up with something better than a moron who has a whole kitchen and has never cooked anything beyond waffles. It's I don't know. That's a stretch.
I was trying to look at it from an outside perspective and trying to look away from experience, like not even experience, but more with like and records, and look at it like you have a guy who's 145 in his later years, kind of small. Fighting a guy who's going into his prime is 40 pounds, heavier than him.
Yeah.
And he still can't fucking knock him out. In fact, let's be honest here. Logan fucking lost that fight. I don't give a shit about winning and losing. Of course. Man. The guy won the first round, and then he got toyed with for the last 7.
Yeah. And he only won the first round in the last 30 seconds. I think we seen at the very end of the first round.
Do you see those punches?
The kind of just flurry. It looked stupid, but it really did make Mayweather go back and forth with whatever direction the punch is coming from. Yeah. Like he was a small guy getting hit really hard by a big guy. Yeah, he's lucky his defense was so good.
I think I liken Mayweather at this point though to like in the circus when they have a tiger, but it doesn't have teeth. Or like, have you ever seen this where people can have their picture taken, like people post this shit online where they're like in a cage laying down next to a tiger and it's just a random person. But then you find out that tiger has no teeth and no claws, so it could maybe maul you for a minute before it's like separated from you, but it could never cut you. What I mean? It couldn't tear you. So you're really with like, it's nowhere near. It's like bumper bowling. Like it can't go that badly. I think Mayweather was preserving. I guess that's the question. Do you guys think that Mayweather really gave it his offensive all?
He's not known for being offensive in the first place. But no, I think Mayweather did his best because it was in his interest to get a knockout as early as possible.
Really?
And actually, there is this thing where people reckon that Logan got knocked out and Mayweather held him up for a moment. Remember we were talking about when he had like his forearm up against his neck? We kind
He
of
was
called
holding
it as
himself
ridiculous.
up. He was balancing. That was
No. Yeah, that Mayweather ended up trying or not. He was pushing Logan away, but he ended up holding up a knocked out guy who came back to it.
Oh, I remember Logan. I thought Logan put his arm on.
No.
Oh, it was the other way. Okay. Oh, so
Dude,
okay.
There's some stupid pictures of him like literally hugging.
Yeah.
Like you've seen a relative after a long time. Like the
Yeah.
clinches were so dumb.
Man, the guy's been hugged more times than me in this last fucking year and a half because of lockdown. Seriously. Like people paid fucking $50 to watch two guys hug for like an hour.
I do, honestly.
And then there's an analyst that's like, oh, he's gonna knock him out, and like, there's no way this guy's gonna knock him out. And people make it fucking, what did he call it? Legalized robbery? Yeah, no shit. Mayweather got paid big bucks for hugging a guy 30 pounds heavier than him for half an hour. The guy says he's retired. He says he's not even gonna do exhibitions anymore. He says he's done.
That's like gay softcore is what it is. It's watching two guys embrace. For money on TV. There is a term for that. That's but wait, so just to clarify, because I had steamed right past it in my own assumption, but so you guys do think, because even though I know you're saying that Mayweather's not known for his offense, but you believe Mayweather in his capacity at this point in his career, who he is right now today, who he was on that day of that fight, he put his foot all the way on the gas.
No.
You guys do either of you believe that he was really, if somebody said, Mayweather, we're gonna shoot you at the end of this fight if you don't knock out Logan Paul, we're gonna shoot you and that's it, would there have been any difference in his ability to, would it offensively looked any different?
Nah, man, he didn't. What did he say? In one of the interviews I watched, he was saying he's gonna put on a show, and that's all these exhibitions are, man. Is putting on a show for people to enjoy. He did it with Conor. Conor lasted 10 rounds with him before he's like, I'm kind of bored of this now, and decided to keep punching him until he fell down. Or
that was a good thing to bring up when they were fighting. If Conor McGregor couldn't finish him, no way Logan could.
Nah. You ever see his fight with Tension?
There you go. Realistically,
do you ever see that fight with him and Tension, the Asian kickboxer? No. So New Year's Eve 2018. This is after the Conor fight, I believe, as well. And basically, he fought this 26-0 undefeated kickboxer who up and coming. He's a prospect, or no, not even a prospect. He was champion of his organization, kickboxing. And Mayweather was in there, made $9 million. For a minute and a half, knocked him down 3 times. DJ Khaled was the announcer. Pretty cool.
You mean $1 million per second? You realize that's $1 million per second?
Yep.
Minute and a half is 90 seconds.
Yep.
Not too bad, is it? Wouldn't mind that. But even with that, like going back to fighter pay, that's not sustainable. Like you could never run an organization where it's like, even if it was just Mayweather, taking on an onslaught of guys, you put Mayweather in there with 10 guys, make the fucking gladiator thing. It's not sustainable like the UFC or a lot of boxing organizations. It just wouldn't work. And
what do you mean now?
Like
are you saying like 10 guys, like one at a time? Or are you saying like put him in a pit with 10, are you saying what, hold on, I'm confused.
I'm saying about fighter pay overall, like it's not sustainable. Like no matter how much you challenge Mayweather, if you're going to pay him that kind of dollar, you can't keep doing it because people aren't going to tune in.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that like he's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't. Because I took the opinion going into it that if he didn't get the knockout, then there wouldn't have been the reward that we're all watching for. Like especially if you think Logan Paul is like just an obnoxious young punk who you want to see punched. Then you're there to see him get cleaned out. And if it doesn't happen, then you didn't get your reward. That's one side. You go to the other side, like we're saying with where you thought it was going to go the full distance. If he does, brutalize this fucking kid, nobody's going to show up to the next fight. So you won't get a next fighter if you go too hard, but you won't get an audience if you go too soft. So it's got to be a diminishing return no matter what. It's got, so you're saying if he makes 20 million on this fight, the next fight will be 17. And then He'll be
He made
12.
100 million off that fight.
Which
Logan
one?
made 20 million. Mayweather made 100 million.
Do you know what he said? Do you know how Khabib's always talking about his legacy? And he's always talking about how he's undefeated, undisputed. I like that. I like his mentality on that. That it's not about the money and it's about what you leave behind. And Mayweather left this. No. So usually I'm on board with that, and I like that. But Mayweather said this thing, and it kind of stuck with me for a second. He goes, "Your kids can't eat legacy."
Didn't he beat his wife? You know what I mean? Is it?
Yeah, Logan Paul said that at the press conference. He's 51-0 because if you include his wife,
But
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure his daughter's in jail for killing someone's unborn baby. And he disowned her online. He's like, "You're not my daughter anymore."
Well, at
weird
what
shit, man.
point is it about feeding your kid, though? I mean, at what point? Sure, the first million, maybe the first 10, maybe the first 20.
Yeah.
But by the time, this guy claims to be a billionaire. He claims all the Forbes and everyone were saying like 350, 400 million value. But, you're right. There has to be some value in the legacy. You have to.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You're just there for the payday. That's it. You're just a whore.
But the legacy brings you opportunity. You can get all these brand deals, or you can be brought to events and blah, blah, blah. Like Khabib, if he never fights again, he's still always going to be a legend and asked to do things. He's going to have a busy schedule the rest of his life.
No, yeah.
It doesn't matter if he goes for a professional fight. He'll be grand. He'll be kept busy. He'll be paid proper. But
it's about boxing.
Even in 20 years, Khabib's. Imagine 70-year-old Khabib getting him to do an ad for you in Russia. Fuck yeah. That's bigger than any other Russian celebrity.
Yeah, and, I'll get a little flash there. Yeah, I mean, and also if you're going for money, then your ultimate goal is to be recognized for the highest money at some point. You still want that to be an accolade. You want a legendary amount of money. Yep. Come on, when you really got into it just for the fucking money, you could have been a stockbroker. You could have been a hedge fund manager. There are other ways to make money without getting drilled in the fucking head repeatedly by, anyone who thinks that you would be a fun challenge to destroy. That's good Lord.
What was it that our friend said, Jared, after watching Jake Paul and Ben Askren? It's like the end of organized boxing. It's gonna be these exhibition fights for eternity now. Like Logan and Mayweather made more money.
I think you just
and
said boxing was dead.
But
that's what I've been hearing that too. But yeah.
But UFC was killing it and exhibitions murdered it.
But listen to this, right? That that exhibition, Logan and Mayweather made more pay-per-view sales than Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury 2, which was for the WBC heavyweight championship.
Yeah, but
wait, really? Those are
people who actually get pay-per-views are questioning the legitimacy of that claim.
Yeah, I suppose.
It would be pretty ridiculous if they actually got that kind of viewership. Because number one, Jake Paul is not that big in the first place.
Oh,
and then
no
one knows who Ben Askren is really.
If you compare him to other
20 million followers or something.
He has 100 million on all his platforms, dude. 20. He's nearly 30 on YouTube, 20 million on Twitter. He's got, I saying this now, man. I can't stand Jake. I think he's fucking marketing fucking genius. I give him that, but he's an annoying fucking brick. But to say that he's a nobody man is
I didn't say he's nobody, but what I mean.
What you say? But I'm saying he's much more well known, and he's doing it the right way in modern times to get recognized as a boxer than someone like Tommy Fury, who's doing it traditional way. I'm just saying he's bringing in the money, and that's what you want to do if you're. Just say he gets beaten by Tyron Woodley in his next fight, man. The guy's made fucking millions in 4 fucking fights. He could probably retire if he wants.
So are you saying though that this exhibition fight between Mayweather and Paul had a larger draw than the largest recent actual legitimate boxing matches?
Yes.
That's a given. That's a fact.
It's claimed now to make around 1 million pay-per-views already.
And what is a boxing heavyweight championship tend to draw, dude?
I think Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder was like 800,000, maybe 900,000.
Wow.
Like,
so dramatically, like a full 2-digit percentage difference.
Yeah,
at least maybe a fifth. That
crazy.
is why people are saying it's destroying boxing, because I mean, you have to ask yourself, like, what does that mean? If boxing has a lower draw, then something that it's a bastardization of it,
yes,
then you're losing. You know what I mean? That like you judge a fight by decision. So you would, if Logan Paul it gets a 10 and real boxing gets a 9, well, there's your decision.
Yeah. Like I remember when
terrifying. Oh, Jesus.
When Sky Sports bought like the privileges for like the pay-per-view thing, and they chose Mayweather and Logan over like an actual like a boxing match which had like 2 champions going up against each other.
Dude, their like, business. I would do the same.
That's what I mean, right? You know, like
what are you gonna do?
Exactly,
what are you gonna do?
You got to bring in the money. That's the smart thing about it.
Like, you say like you got two like world champions to go at it, or you give me like Mark Ruffalo and Ryan Reynolds. You know, like
what did Dana
pick them every time.
Oh,
Dana's like, imagine if Kim Kardashian said she wanted to have a UFC fight.
You really make a point. Well, at what point is it this? Like, now we have enough social media that you can see somebody's history. Would you not want to see, if it could be proven that these were real amateurs, like a manager of like a fucking Pizza Hut versus, like a cashier from Walmart? I would watch that shit. I would watch that intently, but I want to know that that's who they are. They're not training for a fight. They're not like, you know what I mean? That these are just average Joes who just have a wife and kids, and they just got some fucking stress. And I would watch. Pizza Hut versus Walmart.
Man, you make that MMA, I'd love it, because they wouldn't do it properly. It would just be like 2 middle-aged guys just falling over each other.
Yeah, but you're right. MMA, where just you can get physically
you
kicks,
can do anything,
grapples, whatever you want.
Let's get off this and let's actually talk about a huge. This guy's like a huge fucking prospect. People say he's gonna be like the biggest fucking thing in a couple of years. Paul, do you know who Hasbulla is?
Oh,
I told you about
him. Joe, tell me a little bit about this guy. Yeah, hold on.
This guy has an upcoming MMA fight. Like,
I thought it was boxing.
No, it's MMA apparently.
Fuck.
I think he's gonna train with Khabib. Actually, I'm like 90% sure that's gonna happen.
For some reason, a little kid comes up.
No. 18 years old.
There's mini Khabib Hasbulla is like a kid. Have you seen those pictures of the little boy?
No, Paul. He's 18 years old.
Huh?
That tiny dude is 18. He is a rare form of dwarfism.
I missed this when you were telling me. I think we moved on. I figured I wasn't Googling fast enough, or I was doing something wrong. Wait, what the fuck? Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you? Oh shit!
He's fighting someone else who has dwarfism. A Russian
a rapper.
Both of them?
He's 18. The other guy is 17. And
hold on. Can I hold this to the screen? Let me see.
But yeah, man. But like the thing is that they had a face-off, and the face-off they did has
those are adults.
Yes.
Those are adults.
But that face-off they did there, man, it has more views than Conor McGregor and Khabib.
Those guys can down a bottle of whiskey. They can drink.
How old are they?
18.
What are they?
18, 17. But I think you can drink at 17 in Russia, right?
Yes. I think it's even 16.
They didn't even recognize beer as an alcoholic drink till like 2011.
Dude, you know what's strange is that this one here, Hasbulla, he, God, I really don't understand reverse screening here. He looks old, like actually old. Like when you look at his face, like he's like cringing there. He really looks like he could be 50. You see that? Like, wow, this is fucking. When does this happen?
I'll be watching.
When is it?
Oh, it's to be determined at the moment, but it's definitely happening. And I like they talk about like boxing upsets and shit like that. If Hasbulla doesn't win, man, I'm pretty sure the whole world is gonna like go fucking insane.
But it's
like,
against another dwarf. Like, why does he have to? Does the other dwarf not train? Does Hasbulla? He
They're
trains?
both training, right?
They're training right
They're
now.
both training at the moment.
And they had another
Okay.
press conference
So
recently.
why does Hasbulla have to win? Is he jacked?
No, man. It's just that he's like he's
Could you imagine him that size and jacked?
It's like he's the most loved person in the world right now. People want to see him succeed
Because of
so
this?
much. Yes.
Because of that? Look at how happy he is. He looks like Mother Teresa or some shit. But
Mother Teresa is
get-
gonna absolutely slam into that rapper.
Oh god.
This is going to be the fight of a lifetime. I think this is what's going on. I think this is what, you say boxing's done because of that last fight. I mean, if they're going this direction, boxing's fucking spent. It's going to be a cycle. It'll come back. Real boxing will come back because this is, it's like a lunar circle. You know what I mean? It's like an orbit where it's going to get away from the initial point and it's going to get so far away. Logan Paul, that's weird. Okay, well, look, baby men fighting? Of course everyone's going to watch baby men fight. Jesus Christ. Like you said, you'd watch Mark Ruffalo over an actual traditional heavyweight. A fucking man-child, without question, I would watch that. And then you have to ask, is that the end of the cycle or is there something else? Is there like a man bear pig or something?
What if they get like two 7-foot guys in there? 7 foot something.
Yeah, but not as good as the babies, I think, because at least a 7-footer has a man image. You know what I mean? He's at least reached some level of visible maturity. It's a mind fuck to think that 3.5-foot person is an adult. In your head, it's a baby. But if it's got like roundhouse fucking moves, it's a fucking person. But you know what? Because you don't expect a baby to have mechanics.
Yeah,
that's a problem with him though. Like
he doesn't.
Unless they put tiny gloves on them. Like I'm not taking the piss. Like you seen the gloves on him there. That's too fucking big. That's the size of his chest. Unless they put like
they're not custom?
MMA gloves on. Like,
they're not custom gloves?
I wouldn't know. But unless they put like tiny gloves on them, it's basically useless. Like the range of motion is tiny if you've seen Hasbulla train.
Let's see. Do they have tiny gloves? Yeah, no, he's okay.
Like,
let's see. Yeah, those gloves are pretty proportionate. I mean, they look a little, but their gloves always look big. I think that looks okay. Yeah. Oh my God. This is so weird. Look, here's a pic of him like hammer fisting adult. Is that Khabib? I keep seeing Khabib.
No, that's not Khabib. That's his it's either his friend or it's his trainer. Definitely, he's training with the guy, and he was the guy who like did the face off with the two of them. But I'm actually not sure who it is. But he
does MMA though. I've seen him train. I've seen him fight before.
Have you? Fair enough.
Yeah.
Are they Dagestani? Are they?
I guess they're training with Dagestani guys, but
I know. I think he's training with. He's been pictured with Khabib a lot. Like the two of them have met up.
Yeah,
and he was
a lot of
wearing
pictures
the wig.
came
what
up.
a fucking world.
He was wearing the wig and all, dude. Like,
what about this? Did you guys see this?
Put it up
versus Beetlejuice?
Yeah, man, Beetlejuice was coming for him. Beetlejuice was roasting this kid.
Dude, oh
is
my God. Is
Beetlejuice legit, or is he like kidding when he says all the stuff he says?
Oh, I think he's a comedian, but like he was like roasting.
He looks
the
like King Hippo. He looks like King Hippo from Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you guys ever saw that game back in the day.
No.
You should look him up.
Like, I don't know, like you see stuff with him. Like I don't know, is he actually like kind of messy up in the head, or what's going on? Because
he can't be right.
I think it must be an act.
I've seen him asked to spell red, and like he's like LSTER.
Oh my God! Oh,
if I dig a 6-foot hole, how deep is it? Probably like 10 feet. Like stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask you guys this. Now we'll get into some funky waters here. So clearly the attraction to this fight, this is not an athletic draw, right? I mean, these are not muscular people who probably have complex routines, so it's not an athletic draw. It's a freak show.
Yeah.
Right? We've established that's a freak show. Do you think, let me ask you this, because this is me going here with the episode. This is not on you guys. This is, like the disclaimer, this opinion is not reflective of the station.
Go on.
So I'm guessing it's global, but I know at least, especially here in LA and the US, we've gotten so deep in our advertising to have unusual people. It started off that there were a lot of interracial couples. There was just this surge of interracial, and it was always like a black guy and a white woman. And it's like, oh, wow, we're not used to seeing that on TV. That's a little unusual. But then it went farther, and you start to see a lot of ads where it was like really obese women as clothing models, especially for undergarments and swimsuits. And sometimes you even see it go so far where it's like a trans man who's, I don't know if he's transitioning, but there's like clearly a man wearing women's makeup, and, it's not necessary to the product. It's just that, the company's trying to, my favorite word is celebrate. They're trying to celebrate these people. I think that there's been a cloak thrown over these people's minds, and hopefully many of them are at least in on it. I think this is just part of the freak show. I think because there's a company, it's called, I don't know if I should say it on there, but there's a women's bathing suit line, which is very popular right now as we're going to the summer season. Can I say it? And you can just blur it out if you don't want. Summer Salt, because it's like summertime and salt water. So it's a good name. If you look them up, all their ads are like enormous women in like two-piece bathing suits. Sometimes they're in one piece, but then it's like women who have like deformities and shit. I don't think the company cares about these people, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think these companies care about the well-being and the social acceptance of these people. I think the company's working against them. I think the company is using them as a spectacle for some made-you-look advertising. And they're taking advantage of these people in a really fucked up way that if you genuinely cared about their integration in society, then you wouldn't make a spectacle of them in this way. But it's sort of symbiotic again, because now here's a model who wouldn't get work, and they're getting paid, and they're getting to feel like they're important. So now they're on a billboard. But the company is really just, like, hey,
We've had actors on before who off air have said exactly what you just said.
Really?
Yeah. Like people in the entertainment industry, but they'd never say it on air because they're fucking terrified if they won't book a gig because they say something like that.
I'm a comic. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you're in the business that's kind of like counterculture in a way.
Yeah.
We've had actors who said like they don't think it's going to last. That like what you're saying is in like the freak show.
Yeah.
Won't last. Like that, I would like to see like the obscure, but in reality, like the average Joe Schmo and Silly Sally, they're not like that. Like the point is like a lot of actors we have on think it's not going to last.
Yeah, because I think that when you read the comments on these ads or like posts or anything, it's all people who genuinely feel they're like, go get it, girl, celebrate you, and it's like. When you realize that this is not a celebration, it's going to be hard. Like when you find out somebody just wanted to see a 350-pound woman in a two-piece, it's going to be because the reason I picked Summer Salt is because Summer Salt, I just saw there was someone on my feed who I had posted it. There are so many individual thumbnail photos in this last ad campaign that it actually gets progressively more freakish. So they know you can't argue with the fact the first woman's a little less than traditional. And by the end, you're like, what the fuck are you going to show me next? Is she going to have like one leg and elbow and no teeth? Like what? Possibly that's why you watch, and they know it because they're leading you down this road that you're like, well, who could possibly be more weird than the last person? And at that point, I think they've revealed themselves as they're going for, hey, made you look, and hopefully by the end, you've either looked long enough and liked the product, or you feel so bad about yourself for enjoying this for the wrong reasons that you should buy the product just to make sure this person stays employed.
Dude, that's it. That's what the social media does. Like, you're gonna be looking for the obscure, and it looks like you found it earlier.
Dude, you know what? All right, now here's a connection to this that I think might fuck you up. And actually, let me look real quick because I want to get this right. I haven't looked it up to be specific, but I want to do it right this time. Let's see. Let me get this right because this might really, this might nail it. Okay, here we go. So this sort of advertising has gotten progressively more intense in the last several years, right? You may have seen a little bit of it, not much 10 years ago, not really, but probably more in like in the last 5 or so. And it's been a steady ramp up, right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could arguably call this freak marketing in a way. It's not to call the people freaks. I'm not calling them that, but the advertisers, the companies who put this together, their intent is sort of a freak show draw, right? Could we say that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find it at all coincidental that on May 21st of 2017, the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus closed for the last time? They took down their tent for the last time. And they were the purveyors, the initiators, the first commercial freak show in the United States. They invented the fucking freak show and they closed. They shut down May 21st, 2017. What does that tell you? The show moved on. The show got bigger than one circus could handle.
Man.
And it got so broad, that there was no more attraction. Like, honestly, that's what it means. Barnum and Bailey wouldn't have closed their doors if they were still making money. They stopped making money because they were no longer unusual. Their freak show had become a norm. You see what I mean? Other people had exploited it, much similar, if we could say, and I didn't see it coming full circle, but P.T. Barnum could be to traditional pro boxing to what a Logan Paul Mayweather fight is to a progression of freakish looking women in an ad, just a fucking swimsuit ad that you didn't have to pay money to go see. It was right on your screen. I think you could make that argument. What do you think?
I think you need to say it in a comedy bit. Refine it just a little bit more.
Of course.
And you nailed it. But I suppose with the bringing up when the place closed, you'd almost see like a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Like your first ever TED talk or something that you just like skip the script and go straight to this.
God, you know what? Maybe I wonder if I could make a hybrid of TED. I'm going to write that down. TED comedy. My comedy's been referred to. I was just telling Chelsea within the last couple of days. More than once, people have told me that my comedy felt in certain parts like a TED talk. And I've taken it as like a double-edged sword, compliment negative, like it wasn't said as a negative when it was said, but there's a lack of compliment in that if it were straight comedy, they wouldn't have said TED talk. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't putting on a TED talk. I was trying to, perform comedy. So I think part of the difference between a TED talk and comedy is an arc. In comedy, you've got to have some suspense and then relief. Whereas in education, it's more of a straight line because we're here to learn this topic. Here's the beginning, middle, and end. We're going to work right through it. And now you have a series of facts. But in a story, which is more of a comedy it's going to draw your attention. There has to be a problem. You have to have an interest now in sticking around to find out how it ends. I wonder if I could, I don't know, I'll come back to it. I wonder if you could combine, like make TED Talks that are intentionally comedic.
Yeah.
Someone's probably done it before. Yeah.
I like it.
I mean,
but you can put your own spin on it,
Dude,
that
just sounds like
go
the Onion.
hard. Yeah, well, and the Onion, yeah. I'm sure, and when you say it's been done before, like there are elements of humor in a good TED Talk. You don't want to be the dry, the cottonmouth guy, but if you intend it as such, like specifically, I don't know.
Something to think about.
Yeah,
I can see it, man. I think I can see it working really well for you.
Yeah, because I like to inform. I like for people to leave with something more. I like for it to be smart comedy, but I don't want it to be so smart that you're like, I'm not going to go watch that guy if I want to laugh.
Yeah.
Like I want to see a comedy show. I'm not trying to take a college lecture, but I wonder if you could properly there's who's the comic, the really kind of nerdy kid. Actually, he's like 50 and no one knows it. Who's the kid? Kind of nerdy with the big nose.
Ruins everything. Okay.
No. He's just a stand-up comic. He's very to like the hipster crowd, but like the nerdy side. He's got why can't I think of his name? You know his name.
The American.
Yeah, I think so. He's got the flat haircut. Oh my God, I'm totally fucking blanking. You know this guy's name. Let me see.
His stand-up?
Yeah, he's got specials on Netflix. Let me see. Nerdy comic.
Not Bo Burnham, is it?
No.
Trying to think who else is there. There's
nerdy comedian. What the fuck is his name? This is terrible as a comic. And now of course my Google just failed.
Such is life. Such is life.
This is terrible. Jesus. Wow.
American stand up with glasses.
I would hate to. Yeah. Glasses came up. What the fuck? He has like he's got the pages. Like he actually has like the easel with like the fold over written pages where he's written shit down.
All right.
Oh my God.
Dimitri
Martin. Jesus Christ. Dimitri Martin. You guys don't know who Dimitri Martin is?
No.
You should look at. He's funny, but it's like it's a dry wit.
Is it?
It's not. Yeah. It's like. Have you ever heard of Stephen Wright?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a Mitch Hedberg kinda, but it's just really nerdy.
What's his name? Dimitri
Martin. He's very funny though.
I love dry humor, man. It's I'm a very dry humor kind of guy. Stuff that like not supposed to make you laugh, real serious kind of shit, and it's just
like that dark humor.
Man, it just gets to me. It's brilliant. It's so good.
Dude, I'm working on something now, and if you guys want to throw me something later, if you want to mull this around, I'm open to tags for sure. I think there's something, and this kind of wraps right in with our talking about heavy people in swimsuits. I don't know, but so over here, I would say probably one of, if not the most popular candy bar in the U.S. is the Snickers.
Yeah.
You guys have the Snickers bar?
Yeah, we have Snickers.
Right. And for the longest time, I've always grown up assuming that there was just like a goofy non-word, like Snickers, like a whatchamacallit or like a whatever, like it's just not a word. One day it hit me. Snickers is the plural of a real word. It's of the snicker. And a snicker is a form of laugh. Oh. But it's not just a regular laugh. It's an antagonistic laugh. It's, you know what I mean? It's kind of a bullyish laugh, which is funny to put on a food which is going to promote obesity. And what is one of the most uncomfortable situations someone who's obese could possibly face? It's being snickered at. It's someone who doesn't outright call you a name or say anything to you. They just, in your shadow behind you, just, just a little, a bullyish laugh. Mm. And so isn't it kind of awkward that probably one of the most enticing pieces of empty calorie junk food is named your greatest fear that could come from overindulging in empty calorie junk food?
Dude, you are nailing it with the fucking like brand comedy. These Snickers. I remember like your old Crave commercial fun.
Oh yeah,
I love that so much.
Yeah, I'm glad you like that.
That's probably one of your best things as well.
What it was like, this cereal's like, if you want to be like your kids to hate you, what was it again?
If you want to knock your kids clean out from a sugar crash. Because I was mad, dude. I was mad when I saw that cereal. I learned about that cereal because it was on my grandmother's counter. My grandmother has dementia, and wow, imagine I forgot the word Alzheimer's. That's on point. That just happened. So she's got Alzheimer's, and they say it's linked to type 2 diabetes and an excess of sugar over a lifetime, and the inflammation caused by it. So at any rate, even if it doesn't just cause dementia, it's just bad for you. You shouldn't have that much sugar. And the idea that cereal is branded toward children. What the fuck? You're ruining these kids' lives. Like, why not give them cocaine? Why not? Why don't you give your kids coffee? Everyone knows why you don't give your kids coffee, because that's an adult thing that you should choose. It can affect your body on a chemical level, and it's poor parenting. But why is it not poor parenting to give your kids, as I say in that skit, chocolate wrapped in sugar for breakfast? You should have your fucking kids taken away. You should. Jesus Christ! Come on.
You ever hear why cornflakes were invented?
Oh, tell me this.
You guys.
I don't have it. Go
Jared,
back.
do you know what this is?
You've told me before, and I know it's weird.
To stop people from masturbating. They were promoted to be an anti masturbating cereal. They were like, if you eat this shit, you won't want to masturbate.
Dude, I just heard that recently. I was like in a clip on a pod or something. I think this relates. There was a movie. I'll message it to you guys or take a note. I should go back to. There was a movie. If I'm wrong, I'll let you know. I think it was called Pleasantville. And it was loosely related to reality. I think Kellogg. Was it?
Kellogg's. Yeah, Kellogg's.
Well, yeah, but the guy, Kellogg, the original founder, Mr. Kellogg, I don't know, like RJ, no, that was Nabisco. Mr. Kellogg, you're right. He had very deep and intense social opinions on how society should function. And he was wealthy. So he, as you're saying, his product was intended to prevent masturbation. I think he might have had like some private hospital that he started with like a psychological intent. He wanted to they have pray the gay away kind of shit, like they have like weird fucked up psychological camps where they try to curb people's urges and make them different people. I think he had a really weird look into it. I'm going to look into it as well because I want to know more. I think he was a strange guy.
Well, if you're promoting your cereal so your kids won't,
Yeah,
I don't think you're the most sanest of people. I'm just saying, man.
They're all mental. Like Walt Disney was pretty fucked up as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was he doing though? Do you remember?
Was it Nazi stuff?
Yeah, a lot of.
Like he was good with the Nazis. He thought they were okay.
I've heard back and forth. Somebody recently was saying that was not true.
Really?
But I've heard it more often than I haven't.
Yeah.
I've definitely heard it more often. I've heard like one person say that they read it wasn't true.
I thought he was also into eugenics, wasn't he?
Was he?
With that? Well, I don't know what eugenics are.
Disney? You don't know about eugenics?
No.
Oh, Jared,
I don't know too much about that. I think it's just like you think certain races are superior or
different
groups are superior. Yeah. So like Hitler thought like his Aryan people were better than everyone else or something.
I get you.
Also, it's kind of weird that he had black hair and like brown eyes. He was idolizing like
and shorter. I think he was a little shorter.
And blue eyes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could then say that he maybe it was a more genuine argument on his point because he didn't even have a dog in the fight. It proves he really meant it.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. Because if he were blonde, then you'd be like, oh, you just want everyone to look like you. But if he's like, I'm not even good enough. That's how much I believe in my product.
Did anyone ever bring that up to him?
I'm sure.
Mr.
Well,
Hitler,
maybe not to him.
We're just getting demonetized because we said Hitler.
Yeah, like the third time.
I'm pretty sure this was getting demonetized since the very start of it, man.
YouTube sound.
What were we talking about at the start, man? This has gone in so many different fucking
directions. I wrote down everything we talked about.
Go on, hit me with the first. What was the second thing we talked about?
For the first 20 minutes, we talked about boxing.
UFC,
fighting, women fighting.
There was something weird there.
Comedy. Then we got into the roller coaster. Then we got into a bad wife. Who gave a lad a bad life. And then we talked about Hezbollah. Then we're now on. I'm stop adding stuff up like for the timestamps of this video. I just have it as funky. From the last 20 minutes, I'm just labeling as funky. Yeah.
Do we get like an asterisk next to it? Just asterisk funky.
Just fucking great shit.
That's awesome.
Just funky. It got funky.
Yo,
weird.
Hey, just before we end this topic, though, I want to throw in one thing that I think you guys might enjoy looking into. I mean, not that we don't have a laundry list, but it ties in. So with our concerns about what Disney might have been into that was nefaria, if you will, I saw an interesting documentary about Henry Ford. You guys ever hear what he was into?
No.
Know about him. That's it.
A couple things with him, which we'll put an asterisk of funky next to all this because I'm not certain of all of it, but some of it I did see in a documentary that was produced by like the History Channel. So some of this is pretty reliable source. What I'm not totally sure of, but I heard that he was a Nazi sympathizer. And I heard that when World War II was going on, that he actually did some metal manufacturing to help the axis of evil. He was. I'm not sure.
That sounds like a super villain squad.
That's what they were called. Did you know that that's what Germany and Japan and Italy were called? They were the axis of evil. And so he allegedly used some of his manufacturing plant capabilities to aid the Nazi regime. Now that I'm less sure about that, but I heard that. What I am. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. What I did hear that's really, it seemed much more reliable. I think they actually had photos of this. This is fucked up. This is funky. So Ford, he would hire a lot of immigrants, right? Like, because this was very much becoming a melting pot country, and he would hire a lot of immigrants. But he did believe in paying them well. He was the initiator of what they called the $5 workday. He was the first. He invented the mass production assembly line, and then he paid the best for it. So there were lines down the street to get a job working for Ford because no one paid $5 a day. It was a ton of money at the time. Here was the hitch. Ford had a very specific way on how, like Kellogg, like how he thought society should function. If you worked for Ford, you could not be an alcoholic. Many of his employees lived in Ford Village, housing he created. And it was within his ability and within your contracted permission that if word were out that you were an alcoholic and maybe beating your wife, which this sounds good, but it's a lot, he would send thugs to your house and let you know there's no beating your wife. Like they would fuck you up. Like if it was quick, like he made it very quick. So that's good, but it's also terrifying because it's like, I don't know, people could just start rumors. Like there's just guys who can come into your house.
That sounds like one of those things. Like if we didn't put corporations on leashes, they would just start doing that.
100%.
You end up living in the factory. The fucking China does that, don't they?
I'm sure, and beyond. Well, here's this. Here's where it really came to like an apex. When you worked for Ford as an immigrant, part of your job involved Americanization and schooling through the Ford education program, which meant they would teach you English and they would teach you American culture and American customs. So much so that there was a graduation ceremony to the end of this Ford Americanization program. In the ceremony, what they would do, your family would come and watch, just like at school, when you graduated high school, whatever, and you would show up in the garb representing your foreign culture. You would then get your diploma, you would walk up some stairs and step down into what stage design was a big boiling pot. I mean, there was obviously not boiling water, but it was a giant cauldron to represent a boiling pot, a melting pot, as we were known for. And when you got down inside the pot, there would be clothes for you to change. And then you'd walk out the other side dressed as an American, representing that you had shed whatever it was of a culture that you thought you had coming here. You had accepted the culture of the land of where you live, and you now are a representation of this culture and not your former. Henry Ford, dude. Henry Ford. This wasn't some like psychotic company that went under after 8 months because people were like, what the fuck are they doing over there? That was Ford, the heartbeat of America. Oh no, that's Chevrolet, whatever. Yeah, but Ford, like, isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's one of those ones that's I don't even know what the fuck to say to that. That's just fucking weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's
That's not something you wouldn't expect. I was trying to
no.
say.
Oh, it's not. Wait, it's not something you wouldn't expect.
No, it's something you wouldn't expect.
Oh yeah. I
Mm.
didn't know if you were like in reference to Ford. You're like, yeah, I've heard enough of that guy. He's. I wouldn't. That's not weird.
Shit.
Yeah,
That's so
Fuck.
weird.
That's fucked.
it's fucking strange.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's kind of interesting though.
Oh, it is.
Like, what was that practice like? Like the Americanization thing.
You know, and was he?
Like, what's his definition of an American?
Well,
Because someone in New York versus someone in LA versus someone in Texas,
yeah.
Oklahoma, very different people.
But were they back then? I wonder. Well, I guess I mean, if you're a farmer versus a businessman
Yeah.
versus an iron laborer. But I wonder if then it was so non-diverse that you could kind of sum up the American man pretty. I wonder then. But I wonder though what's interesting there is that here's a guy of power, tremendous power, one of the largest companies, if not the largest in the country. What was he well intended? That's the interesting thing. It's a fucked up outcome, and you'd never do it now. But like, was he? It's sort of awkward to think that like he thought he was doing the right thing in like a weird way, So this is why we try to distribute power. We have antitrust laws because you don't want one guy who has too much power, who thinks he's doing the right thing, to be, getting psychotic.
Yeah.
with thousands of people, and
Yeah.
Love to talk to someone who knew someone that went through that process, or someone who went through it. Like,
yeah,
say they're all dead, like, but be an interesting conversation.
Oh,
it would be.
Would it be like
their
Stockholm Syndrome?
relatives?
And they'd be like, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
fine, man."
Yeah,
But like, second you said like they wore like their traditional garb. Fuck would Irish people wear? What do we wear? Just put a potato sack on us and march us up.
I think it would be like a leprechaun outfit, right? Of course you.
Yeah.
You know, Paul,
Don't-
I forgot you were a
don't.
comedian for a second, but you just brought it straight back, man. You sly dog. You got me good at that one. Get it? Because the leprechaun is Irish.
I'm sorry, I'm kidding. I have.
Yeah.
This,
No, it's fine.
I'm fine.
That's all. I mean, if you're just trying to let people who don't know, then yeah. Which maybe the Irish. Maybe if you guys have some sort of a garb that represents you with validity, it might be ready for a push. It might do well if you care. Just because I think Americans only know Lucky from the Lucky Charms box. I think that's all
don't
we've
even
got.
have Lucky Charms here. That just pisses me off as well. I wouldn't mind them.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna say, "Cause get that shit out."
Nah,
Really?
we don't have that shit here, man.
We
I
didn't
don't
have
want-
Hershey's until like, how old was I when they had Hershey's here? Might have been,
Oh.
Really?
might have been 15. I'm almost 20 now. So yeah, maybe the last 5 years.
So wait, do you think it's like Hershey, where it's a lack of the brand
Oh no, here's the thing.
expansion?
American chocolate isn't considered chocolate by the European Union, so it wasn't allowed in. But
Oh,
white
shit.
chocolate, the cookie and cream, that was allowed in.
Because you guys didn't have a version which was clearly superior.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, who cares? If you want to
Yeah.
make that shit, we're not going to have our version of it. Fine, like
Yeah.
that. So
Well-
your chocolate is so much better.
Yes.
Well, that's what they say. Well, we have to have like more actual like chocolate in it. We're supposed to have less oil. Like they're even running
Son
into
of a
problems with
bitch.
Irish companies. They're putting so much oil in, like it's barely chocolate. Like if you go
Wait,
to mainland
who was
Europe,
doing that? I mean, that I know that was like, is that making its way over there? That you guys are doing it now too?
well,
Or
they'll
no?
push the limit of what they're allowed to do, and they'll do oily things that might not actually be oil, blah blah blah, just to fill it up, like to get that melt in your mouth kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you go to mainland Europe, you go to the continent, you get some
Yeah.
fucking chocolate from there, it'll change your life.
Yeah.
It'll change you forever. Myself and my
God
girlfriend will only
damn.
get like Polish or Lithuanian snacks when we're in town. Because they're so much better. They're superior by a mile.
Wow, I've got to know now.
Those
'Cause,
people
I
know
mean,
chocolate.
That's interesting. I thought it was just that the brand hadn't made its way, that it just hadn't gone global enough at a, until a given point.
It's also a
But
GMO thing.
yes, dude, you guys, do you know if this is true? I heard that you don't allow high fructose corn syrup in the majority or any of your foods. I don't know if it's allowed at all in Europe.
I don't know about that, to be honest.
Are you familiar with what high fructose corn syrup is?
No,
Barely,
not
barely.
exactly.
That means you probably don't allow it. It's the fucking devil. It's the reason Americans are so obese. Fructose is a form of sugar. It's a high fructose syrup that you wouldn't find this kind of sugar anywhere in nature. You have to chemically enhance the sugar to make it this complex chain that I don't think the body knows how to break down, and it makes you want more sugar. So when you see like a big American with a big gulp, like a 32-ounce fucking Mountain Dew.
That was weird when I was there recently.
Yeah, you saw that?
I've never seen people in Ireland who would be edging 400 pounds. And I've just seen some gigantic Americans when I was there. People you never see it before. People who have to be in these fucking things at Walmart that like push them around. I've never seen that.
Dude, so embarrassing.
You know me. I've been around Europe.
Yeah.
I've never seen shit like that anywhere I've went.
Ever.
But I went to the States and not that many times, but I was in Walmarts. I might have seen it a total of 4 times while I was there for 2 weeks.
Is it not in Europe because your streets are narrower? Because I heard you guys drive smaller cars too. Maybe our roads are wider, so it just makes people feel like, well, why not expand? We got the room.
I know.
No, that's terrible, man. It really is terrible. That's fucking horrible. I didn't know that you guys don't. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I didn't know you guys didn't have have you ever seen the show My 600-Pound Life? I think it is, have you ever heard of that?
I'm aware of it.
I've seen it, but man, that makes me feel sick.
Well, yeah, but now that you mention it, it didn't cross my mind. I think they're all Americans. I think these are all, because they all make a little pilgrimage down to this doctor in Texas, and they're all able to drive there one way or another, via convoy or 4 helicopters, whatever it takes to drag themselves down there. But I don't think any of them are in Europe.
Like Ireland does have like
cast it.
a thing with obesity, but not like morbid obesity. Like you'll see guys with dad bods. Most men who are way past 35, dad bod.
Mm-hmm.
And at least half of people who are like 20 to 35, dad bod.
Sure.
But I've very, very rarely seen it go beyond that.
And 400 was kind of your figure. Like you don't, because we hit that shit, dude. You're right.
Never.
At our Walmart, at Walmart, we've got, there's always, have you ever seen, there's like a website and an Instagram page, People of Walmart. Have you ever been on that?
No. I want to
enjoy that. Write that down, dude. That's not just funky.
People of Walmart.
You have to, man.
This is definitely a funky segment.
Dude, put down People of Walmart and then also write down with it Florida Man.
Oh man, yeah, we know Florida Man.
You know about Florida Man. Okay,
yeah.
You'll understand why I connected the two.
Yeah,
you're gonna enjoy People of Walmart. But I think it's the high fruit. Yeah, you guys. We ran it long.
No, I was gonna say let's keep going with the fucking funky. Paul, you know who invented it? You know who invented the sex doll?
Don't.
No. Jer?
Don't.
Oh man, you're gonna like this one. It was Hitler.
Are you sure?
Look it up.
It's
really
true.
Look it up.
Sent out the German soldiers like
dead ass, Paul. Look it up.
What?
Inventor of the sex doll.
Well, it's a blow up sex doll.
Sorry, my
yeah,
bad.
sure. Well, no, and that's fine because even that clarification, that's what people consider as a sex doll, is the blow up doll. No. Why?
So next time you see someone, in fairness, you might never see someone with one if you're lucky. But if you ever catch someone, no, they could be supporting Hitler in a way.
Is this to prevent like homosexuality in the fucking? Because
it was kind of to stop like I think it was just because like these guys are gonna be fucking horny all the time, but also a thing of, like soldiers back in the day, they'd find women, they'd rape them and all. Maybe it would stop that kind of carry on.
Well, there's that too. But there was like something in like Greek. I mean, the Greeks were a little funky. They definitely fit on the funky episode. But they had like a social. I don't know if it was like a moray. I don't know if it was a law. I don't know on what level of acceptability, but it was like if a man lays with a man, it is unacceptable unless it is in the battlefield, and then it's deemed okay. We should look to see where that was. I thought it was Greece. That's almost like biblical.
The one I've heard of that is like a guy can't be with a guy unless you're the guy giving it. If you're the guy taking it, you're the loser. You're
the gay.
Yeah, you're the bad one.
Oh, I love it. There's like a differentiation. That's funny.
I got told that from one of my gay friends. And he said like that's where fag comes from. Like where people say that because it was those young lads who would go out and they'd pick up sticks, and then the guys who were like in charge of them would come up behind them and that's where that came from. Yeah, because like
it sticks.
Because like it's back in the day, man. Didn't have electricity. Everything's fire.
Right. So wait. So I had always heard that. Like I knew a fag was a bundle of sticks.
Where did the fucking fire come? Yeah, what are you talking about?
Well, Thomas, like back in the day, you didn't have fucking light the way we do now. You had to light a fire probably every day.
All right.
Right.
And if you were like the big guy in the battlefield, you're probably saying, the young lads, go get the sticks, go get the fire ready. Probably have to burn bodies afterwards as well, like all kinds of shit. You gotta feed how many men on a battlefield too.
But wait, so hold on. So how does that tie into the gay though? Wait.
Yeah. I'm on the same thing with Paul, man.
What do you mean?
How does lighting fire?
Well, the guy's bent over. He's picking up sticks.
So that's what you're saying. It's the act of bending over.
The act of receiving was the gay.
Right, and he's the one who was bending over to pick up the sticks.
That's the thing.
Dude, I had always heard that fag was a derogatory term because I'm with you on bundle of sticks, but and with fire, but I had heard that they would like burn gays at the stake. Because they were not socially accepted. So that's why it was like the N word of gay. It was like the worst because it was like we were so unaccepted, they would burn us alive. But that's an interesting twist that it was go get the fags. And while you're bent over, hey, don't drop the soap kind of thing. Like
pretty much. Yeah.
Wow. I got to look that's
rough. But it's so weird like how culture can change. Like, well, the rape part, but imagine like, the Greek thing of back in the day. If you were the guy giving it, you weren't gay. Yeah.
No. Why? Why would you be? Possibly.
But dude, like nowadays, like even when you were probably growing up, if you two of your buddies were standing too close to each other, what would you call them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's wow. So wait, so hold on, but this came from Hitler inventing the sex doll. So we're contriving that here? Maybe that he invented it, and so you're saying maybe to like prevent rape, even like. But I mean, do you think he cared?
Ideally,
Hitler gave a fuck.
I think ideally that would be the case, but probably not. That's probably not the intention. Just to stop like horny guys on a battlefield.
Yeah, I've heard some stuff about that, lad. I don't think he cared about people too much.
Yeah, in fairness. I don't think he's a people person.
Nah, he seems like just from the stuff I've read about him, he's not the nicest dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was on the lower end of humanity friendliness. Kind of. But that's just wild. That's an interesting. I'm glad to know that. Like I'm gonna look that up. I want to know more about it because that is just that's one of those things where you just find, like one of those little strange facts that they probably can't put that on like the Snapple lid. I don't know if you guys do that.
Yeah.
You guys have Snapple over there, like the little strange facts on the.
I only seen Snapple when I was in the States.
Yeah, well, they're known for putting like a fact on the inside of the cap.
But dude,
and normally it'd be like, hey, bees produce 10 billion pounds of honey a year, and you're like, oh, that's wild. I would never open one that says like Hitler invented the blow up sex doll. You can guess why.
Yeah.
Log into Snapple.com or go to our Instagram page and comment your guess as to why Hitler invented the sex doll.
I don't even know what to say to that, man.
That's crazy.
My apologies. I think we should end. I think it's time.
Have we gone dark enough and deep enough? And
you know what? I think
we've gone everywhere.
I'm really debating, actually putting this thing to the light of day where people can actually like, you're those three guys, aren't you, that made that podcast? May God have mercy on your soul.
Here. Before we finish up, though, we got to finish on a lighter note.
Yeah. Let's bring the plane back up.
Let's look up good facts about Hitler. No. Okay.
Shut up.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, Tom.
No.
But you've got the theme of what we're doing here. You have found the grain.
I don't know what we're talking about. UFC is tomorrow night. We're going to be commentating it. I presume this episode's going up today, Jared, right?
Yeah, it's going to go up today. It's going to be late today.
Fucking hell, if you get to the end of this episode, good luck.
If
you got this far, fair fucks.
I would say we should put something ridiculous just to know if people got this far.
Oh, yeah,
there's nothing
type banana.
Ridiculous.
Leave a comment banana in the comments if you got this far. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, right?
You might win a blow-up doll.
You might
win a blow-up doll.
You might.
Who knows?
In the raffle. But before we head on, Paul, if you want to check you out, where can they find you?
Fuck, hiding after what we've discussed today.
Yeah.
No place in public reach.
Nowhere in the light of day.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Closet of a comedy room where no seats can hear me. So I'm Paul Roseberry. So my Instagram is @PaulRoseberryComedy. Facebook, Christ, if you're still on there, I don't know why, but yeah, Paul Roseberry. And go on there to talk shit, because I think that's all they do on Facebook is just fight. I don't even go in there. Twitter, fuck yeah, I'll tweet. I only tweet with you guys. That's it. Like you guys and Flappers Comedy Club. But yeah, and paulroseberry.com, which I should update more regularly. But
there you go.
Love it.
If you want to check him out, you know where to find him. He's a lot cleaner than this normally. You should check out the Paul Roseberry Experience, which is a playlist we made of all the episodes of you. Far there's 7, now there's 8.
Yes. Just like hopefully Brady will be in a year.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
I like it. I like that. I don't think it's going to happen. But do you know what, man? Never bet on Brady. Never bet against Brady.
I would say you go that way.
Never bet on him or against him.
You never bet against him, man. The guy has more Super Bowls than teams. Than teams have Super Bowls.
Yep. 10 appearances, 7 wins. Wow.
That's impressive. Yeah,
the guy's you talk about GOAT status in other sports, like who's the GOAT of UFC or boxing. Man, Brady pretty much is NFL. The guy is there's it's gonna be a couple of fucking 100 years till there's a guy that can compete with like Tom Brady.
But what happens when he leaves?
Well, he's leaving next year.
Talk about. I don't even want to know. No, there's no end date. Yeah, you never know.
Nah, man, he's gone now. He's gone after next year.
I mean, listen to you. Let's hope not. I would love for there to be 3 years in him. Every year, I hope he's got 3 more. But,
I like it.
Every year, we're just glad to have him.
Exactly.
There you go. All right. So we got this fire for play to you. Take it handy. Good luck. Get some therapy.
Banana.